On the morning of April 19th, 1995, Timothy McVeigh took a rented Ryder truck, drove it to the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. Inside that truck was a bomb. He was about to commit mass murder. He locked the door, walked away, lit the fuse, and at 9:02, the bomb exploded. It leveled about a third of the building, floors pancaked, 300 buildings in the surrounding area were destroyed or torched, cars were aflame, but the physical toll was not nearly as devastating as the human toll. 168 people lost their lives that day. 19 of them were children. One of those was a father of a 14-year-old boy who over 20 years later sat through a Life Action Summit and wrote this testimony. I didn't realize until this week I've been mad at God for over 20 years. Since April 19th, 1995, I've been mad and not trusted him. That was the day my father was killed in the Oklahoma City bombing. I was 14, I lost the man who was my idol and a godly presence in my life. I've always been happy on the outside, but empty on the inside, trying to be like the world to be happy. The sermon on forgiveness changed my heart. I realized there was no person I was harboring a grudge against. It was God himself. I've let that go, and I'm working on becoming closer to him. Thank you, Life Action. God bless, and please continue to pray for me. You see, the fact is that bombing didn't just affect the 168 people who lost their lives. It's affecting everyone that has ever been touched by their lives, generations to come. This young man grew up in a home where, because his father was gone, now there was an absence of this influence and his presence in the home. I'm sure you can relate. All of us have gone through situations and times in our life where something tragic has happened. What do you do with the unexplainable? What do you do with the things where there's no answers to all the questions? The whys that have no answers. Sometimes life just leaves you in the dark. And the adage, "this too shall pass," is insufficient consolation. But you see, he'd held on to these problems for over 20 years, holding this bitterness against God. Time does not heal all wounds. You see, all bitterness is ultimately directed towards God. If you're bitter, you don't have a person problem, you have a God problem. For this young man, that problem turned into solutions, because some time ago, a Life Action team came to his church. In our meetings, we try to help people understand that they can deal with their past so they can grow and enjoy their future. Your past does not excuse your behavior, but it can explain your behavior. Through the teachings on bitterness and forgiveness and the sovereignty of God, this young man realized he had to let go of his past, and he did. This is the story of change. You may think it's an exception because we don't hear a lot of stories like this on the evening news, but it's actually just one of thousands of testimonies we've received in recent days. When God begins to work in a person's life, the first place it shows up is behind the doors of the home. 8 days ago, I walked in here tired and ready to give up on being a wife and mother. I was angry and annoyed at my family at times for no real reason. God found me proud, selfish, and negative, and drinking alcohol almost every day, sometimes in excess. I built up bitterness toward people that I didn't even know. Thank you for speaking to my heart what God was trying to say. It opened doors with my family I thought would otherwise never be open, are a weight being lifted off my shoulders. My heart is opening back up to God. I asked God in my life today, and it's already been so amazing. In these days, we need to remember there is no panic in heaven, just plans. God loves you, and he is redeeming us to himself. I'm so glad that I get to be part of Life Action. I get to serve on the front lines where I see these heart changes take place. Thank you for making that possible. It's all God, but he uses individuals just like you to help to advance his kingdom.